Same. Yeah, the sessions today have been amazing, and I'm really looking forward to hearing yours as well. So go ahead and get your deck pulled up, Jimmy, and I'll go ahead and give your intro.
All right, let me
Okay, everyone. So Jimmy is a former e-commerce retailer and email marketer turned SaaS founder. Located in sunny San Diego, California, Jimmy is the CEO and co-founder of Sendlane, an email and SMS marketing automation company that helps over 1,700 companies save time, generate more revenue, and increase customer retention with email and SMS. Jimmy's fun fact is when Jimmy is not building Sendlane, he's chasing another dream as a poker player. That's awesome. How did you, like, when did the passion for poker come up?
I've been playing since 2000. So I'm actually jumping out of here and then jumping on a plane to Vegas actually for the World Series. So yeah, I'm definitely passionate about it.
That is so awesome. So you do it professionally?
Yeah.
That is awesome. Okay, cool. I love that fun fact. Well, Jimmy, with that said, I'll go ahead and pass it over to you. The stage is yours.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. What a wonderful line of webinars or presentations we've seen so far. I'm excited here today to continue on with that. Today, I'm going to talk about 5 email and SMS tactics to win over Gen Z. And, where I think it's been really interesting for myself to watch is, I say here myself, I'm a former retailer. I've been in your shoes. I had a retail store that became an e-commerce store that over years, and we completely flipped the script. And eventually I exited that company. And, it's been fun to watch the evolution of what online sales have really changed, especially, but in the one place where it really matters is really inside of your email and SMS. So today I'm going to dive into that. And some of this stuff in the first part is going to be things around different angles around what you've already heard before. But the goal here is just to really make sure that everyone understands the difference. And I start off with just understanding it. And I've got this really simple way to think about it. And I kind of put it out there, and I thought this was a really great way. So I look at millennials versus Gen Z is left to right. I start off over here. It's more optimistic versus more realistic. Opt for collaboration versus independence. Freely share information, where privacy and sharing is a trust, right? Stable careers, strapped for cash. Not saying everybody is, but generalizations here. College maybe, debt aware, college going, and debt accumulating, right? We millennials, where I fall into an old millennial, wear branded clothing, and Gen Zs have always had smartphones. So less social justice and more social focus on social justice. And why I start there is really when you start to realize that people are just inherently very different. A lot of times what happens with anybody doing marketing, especially in email and SMS, is that we forget we need to speak to our audience the way they want to be spoken. And ultimately, that's what this presentation is about. I'm going to be kind of jumping into some tactics here that I can share and things that you should be thinking about as you're approaching it and tips that I can give you around that approach, right? And secondly, we want to make sure that you have the understanding that a lot of this starts with a lot of the things that, are everything but the actual email side of things, meaning like everything but the actual content, the meat and potatoes of everything that we're working on. So let's go ahead and start off with the first tactic, which is all about brand voice and tone, right? Gen Z doesn't want to be sold to. They want to be an active part of the buying process. And what that means is that they want guidance. They want people to handhold them and give them the support to make that purchase, but not be sold to the old way where you're hard hitting, like the late night car commercials you might see where they're just trying to sell you on things, right? That's not what Gen Z wants. In fact, when you're talking to Gen Z, you've got to write copy that reflects this relationship, whatever that relationship that you want and whatever that message you want to the person. You've got to be able to talk to them in a way that really reflects this relationship, which means that you've got to be consistent and you've got to have a great tone. Then you got to speak to the matter of fact about your brand and service. Here's the truth. Gen Z doesn't like fluff, right? They don't like fluff. They don't want to do it. They want to know exactly about your brand and service. Then you've got to be sincere at the same time and don't attempt to hide, duplicate, do clickbait, or even give them misleading subject lines. Something you've got to continue to think is, and you've heard it over and over through all these different presentations, is about authenticity, right? You've got to think about the same thing, and it even comes down to how you get people doing it. I'm seeing brands out there that do this, some really famous brands that are trying to do, misleading subject lines and, clickbait because they're just trying to hit their statistics. But what they're really missing is they're not talking to their audience anymore, which means the marketer needs to adjust what they're doing and speak genuinely. Speak as friends, colleagues, or equals. The biggest thing that they want is they want to feel equal. They don't want to feel, and I say they because I'm a millennial, so, I'm not trying to offend anyone there, but, that's what they want, right? They want to be equals to you. So the first thing that really comes into tactic, very simple, is have a brand voice and tone that you can speak and be consistent around and ensure that you are guiding people through the buying process, through your flows and your SMSs, and not just selling them all the time, because selling is what they don't want to have. And the more you do it, the less they're going to be the less they're going to be wanting to be a part of your brand and pull their wallet out and spend money, right? All right. So tactic, where do we go? Where do we go? 2, 3. I'm sorry. 1 second, guys. Okay, that is right. All right. We've got a little snafu there. So we'll go with tactic 2, right? Value and content driven. Gen Z has massive purchasing power, but are also strapped for cash. And that means that you've got to start thinking about how you drive value to the person, how you get them educated so that that hard-earned cash that they have, how do you get them to think about pulling that out and actually investing in your product or service that you're selling, right? So you got to build value with every product, service, and every email campaign. Give them something that gives them a thing. And I use this image here on the right side because I thought it was perfect, because instead of putting a bunch of words on it, they did it through imagery, right? They showed you what it's supposed to do, and you can almost understand it with just a few words and blurbs. You understand what they're doing over there, right? And that's really the important part of how you build value. You've got to always be ingrained with that value. Then you've got to be, the selling cycle requires nurtures and reminders, okay? It takes time. When people are strapped for cash, they have to think. So the selling cycles are actually increasing a lot of times. The impulse buying, I think, has evolved now. People are being educated. They really want to understand what they are. They want to know where that hard-earned money is. So it takes nurturing. And it takes reminders, gentle nudges, getting them to understand that something is, explaining it, instructions. And when I talk about it, branding, mission, they want to really feel aligned as they're making that purchase. And then you want to be clear and always share other options, bundles and related. This is so important. When you're being out there, and why this was such a great little example of a great value content-driven email. I know when people think value content, they think YouTube videos and blog posts and ebooks, but it's not always about that. Value and content means that you're selling, you're teaching, you're giving people things that they understand. It doesn't always have to be through words. And in this one, you're kind of showing them all these other options that you have, from pop-up, from bundles and other ways that you can have it. And it allows them to open up their mind and see what else you have. Again, this is value. This is how you drive content. You don't always have to do it with other ones. You can, of course, do instructional videos, branding videos, and different things that also help as well, too. Then the next one there is personalize and respect. Personalize and respect is something really important. You got to remember this. 42% of people get annoyed if a brand doesn't offer personalized content. That's recent news. I think I got this from Adobe. And what I thought about that was really interesting. It's almost like this, and this is the best way I explain it, is that when people trust your brand and when people want to be a part of your brand, they tend to take that information and say, well, I'm going to give you my trusted information, my phone number, my email, my address, my credit card, right? I want you to know who I am, just like if I was in real life and I walked into the store, right? So the thing is, you can't translate digital to real life, but people still want the same experience ultimately, right? So when you think about personalizing respect, Gen Z is more reserved and cautious. We've got that really clear, right? So being upfront and clear about your data and how you collect it and how you use it is really, really important too, right? Earn their trust to build a loyal fan base. Again, knowing what they bought and making sure you can talk about them. That's why things like a restock and being able to be notified and be in front of them is really, really strong way to connect with your audience as well too. Use segmentation so you're not over messaging as well too, right? Having email and SMS. I know everyone wants to message both. I know that SMS is more popular with Gen Z. That doesn't mean that that's the way they prefer to be communicated at all times, right? So when you're thinking about that, you want to make sure you're not over messaging. I think that's the biggest problem that I see in the market right now. Even the list that I'm on, and I'm subscribed to a lot of things because I want to see what people are doing all the time. And sometimes I'll get an email, I'll get an SMS with the same topic or different topics. Even though when I engaged with one or I clicked with one or I did something, you would expect a different experience, but that experience is not being delivered because, well, we're all tracking the same attribution and ROI when it comes down to it. Oh, look, there's my number 2. All right, so somehow my number 2 got moved over. So there was a number 2. Tactic number 2, we're gonna go pretend we went after the story, brand, and mission, but this is your purpose, right? 50% of the worldwide consumers consider themselves belief buyers. I love that. Because I am too. I will spend more money if I believe in a brand, if I believe in a company, believe in a mission that they have. And so it's really important that you can communicate that. And I know what you're thinking. Well, I already say that in my webpage. Oh, I already say that in my email. But the truth is, behind when you're thinking about your purpose and mission is that you've got to say it over and over again, right? They want to know your purpose. Gen Z wants to know your purpose. They want to vocalize your support. They want to talk to people about what your support, how they are helping you, and by buying that product and how you're helping the people in the world, right? Remind them how you give back and continue. Again, just making sure that you're talking to them about that and be realistic about your role, right? Gen Z doesn't like fluff. We've all figured that out. Be realistic. What are you doing? If it's just one tree or 10 trees or whatever it might be that you're doing in the world, not saying you have to, by the way, to have a mission, but in the Gen Z world, that's who's going to be your buyer, and that's what they think about. And last but not least, as I'm starting to come up on time and I want to be sure I'm mindful here, being mobile first. We've talked about this already. 98% of Gen Z have a smartphone and prefer it. So you got to make sure everything is mobile first, from your email to your website to the entire experience that you're working on. And so things like email templates and design matter. SMS and replies matter, right? Clear sending names and identification, they matter. Quick and convenient. Can they get their message and understand what you're doing quickly? Love this email here example, because in 2 scrolls, if you think about it, you can see it. Nice to meet you. It was a welcome email, obviously. Here's what to expect from our emails. Lots of cool things, yada, yada, yada. 10% off. Follow us. See how quick and convenient? 2 swipes, right? Thinking about it really tight because you're thinking about mobile. And get to the point. Again, looking at this, we know exactly what. Nice to meet you. Here's what to get. Here's how to get money, and follow us. You're getting them straight to the point and doing what you want them to do, and have clear CTAs as a must-to as well. Don't try to hide it inside of words. Don't try to do it. Make sure they can see where the heck to just click ultimately, right? So you've got to think about it that way as well too. Now, let's recap real quick. What matters to Gen Z? What matters most? How you make them feel, how you sound, how you look and appear, how you seem, how they hear you. Now think about that. It's like a human almost. Why? Because they don't want to be connected to a brand. They want to be connected to humans. They want that experience and that connection. And that's what drives what matters to them. So if you almost look at why I say this, it's so important. How you make them feel, how you make them sound, how you look and appear, how you seem, and how they hear you, right? Think about it. It's humans, right? Humans want to speak to humans. And so 4 quick tips real quick as I'm finishing this up. Create personalized on-site experiences. Guys, don't forget that whatever your email is, like, it could be so fancy and nice, but if your website doesn't mimic it and follow the flow, you're creating friction. Fix it. Make sure that your site is personalized. The better you can make it personalized with great tools like Just Uno and stuff, like use a great tool to make sure that you're personalizing it. Be memorable. Copies, colors, design. Come on. That's really simple, but people forget. Have brand guidelines. Those are really important nowadays, especially if you're working with Gen Z. Share and reshare your brand story and mission. So important. I keep saying it because I'm over communicating it. So I hope that everyone knows you need to over communicate that as well too. And last but not least, this is a small plug for ourselves, but I think it's really important. Have a true unified tool for your email and SMS. Don't have the delay of data. 12 to 24 hours of delayed data can crush you. So think about that when you're thinking about the unified tool. With that said, if you want to chat more and talk about email and SMS, I'm always happy to talk about it here. There's my Twitter. There's my email. Really simple, not hard to get a hold of me. I do respond. I do talk to people. I love talking to community. So please reach out. I've been in your shoes, and I'm an email marketer, obviously.